Hello, welcome back to old school computing, old school programming. And today we're going to be doing an application to convert temperature between Fahrenheit and Celsius. If you live in the United States, we use Fahrenheit over here. If you live everywhere else in the world, you use Celsius, which is the mostly used temperature scale. Of course, in the United States, we do everything a little different. While you guys have meters, we have miles and yards and feet and inches. Well, you guys have liters, we have gallons and pints and quarts. And well, the same goes for the temperature. You guys use Celsius, which is used to be known as centigrade, and it's based on the 100 number, like all the other standards. And we use Fahrenheit. But if we want to convert temperature between one another, all we need to do is a small application. I'm going to be using Xojo again, Xojo, and I'm gonna be doing this application on my Mac. So if I ever want to do this for Windows, I can use the same project. So, anyways, here on my screen, I have the welcome screen from Xojo, and here I'm gonna make a desktop application. I'm gonna call it temp for temperature, and then I'm gonna blank this out. I don't need it for now. And I'm gonna click OK. And there it is. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger for now. This is the main window. And I'm gonna change a few things. First thing I'm gonna change is the name that's displayed, the title of the screen. And I'm gonna call it temperature conversion. And just like that. I'm not gonna allow the window to be resized, minimized, or maximized. See, all I have to do is click these buttons and these are gone. And I'm gonna resize the window myself, but once I know how it's gonna look, I'm not gonna let people resize it, but I can do it because I'm in design mode. So the first thing I'm gonna do here, now here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna put in a label that says temperature source, and I'm gonna ask for the source. I mentioned Celsius and Fahrenheit, but we're gonna use Kelvin as the base, and there's a reason for that. Kelvin is the standard used by the rest of the world, literally. Okay, we use Celsius mostly or Fahrenheit. Kelvin is the one that defines. It's gonna be our base, and I'm also gonna compute between Rankine, Reaumur, Newton, and this Lysel. And I know I'm mispronouncing the names, but they're in French and Dutch, and I don't speak those languages. So as I type them on the screen, you will see them. And the basic idea here is to enter a value, select the source of the temperature, and automatically put in the temperatures for the other scales, right? The temperature scale. So it's a very straightforward program. It's not too complicated. And I think it's good for what we're going to do today. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go here to my library and I'm going to put a label. And my label, I don't need to change the name. I just need to change what it says. And it's going to say temperature source. And I'm going to make sure it fits there and put it right there. That's all I'm going to do. Now, I'm going to go to my library and I'm going to add a few things. The first I want to do is add this right here. It's called a radio group. So I'm going to just drag it here and I'm going to do a few things to it. Okay. I'm going to change the name to OPT selection only because that's the name I've chosen. And here where it says option 1, the initial value, that's fine, but I'm going to change it. I'm going to click at this little pencil or looking thing right here, and I'm going to change this. And I'm going to change it to the values that I use. So it's going to be Kelvin, which is the first one, Celsius. I'm going to use Fahrenheit, F-A-H-R-N-Height. There we go, Fahrenheit. Then we have this Rankin, and then we have I think it's this. Okay, we go. No more. And then we have R, and I'm gonna oops. Two more. I think that's French, I believe. Newton. And this last one, which is different than all of the others because it's the only one where the temperature goes the opposite way as the other ones. When it gets hotter, the temperature numbers go down. One thing that I need to note as I'm doing this is that I need to check, the temperature, in case you didn't know, it can go high as much as you want, hundreds of degrees, thousands of degrees. It doesn't matter what scale you use, it could go very, very high. But it can never go below absolute zero. 0 Kelvin is absolute zero, or negative 273.15 Celsius. It's that it cannot go there. So what I'm going to do while I'm checking the temperature is to check that it is not an invalid temperature. It can go hot, but it cannot go cold. Now, while I still have this here, I'm going to click this button to make it horizontal. And then I'm going to move this around to here. And got them all there. And I can safely resize this. And I'm going to put another label now. And this label will be, I'm going to change the text to enter value. There we go. And now I need to enter a text box. And I'm going to go here, and here are my input. And I'm going to put this here. I'm just going to make that size. I don't think it really matters. And I am going to call it, I'm going to change the name to txt value. I need to know what it is. And now I'm going to add 3 buttons. So the first button, I'm going to do this here. And I'm going to call, I'm just going to put all 3 of them here first. And if I want to make sure they're the same size, I can always do this and then put them right here. And I'll do another one the same way. Make sure it's the same size as the other ones, and then put them in. Now they're all aligned nicely. This last one, I'm going to call, instead of button 3, it's going to be BTN quit. And the caption will be quit. So what it's going to do when I double click it and it's press, because I'm going to press the button, is I'm going to quit. And that's all it's going to do. It's going to quit the program. So that's what the button quit does. There's another, this one here is going to be the reset, BTN reset, and I'm going to call it reset. And for now, we'll leave it at that. I'll put some code afterwards. And this is the BTN calculate. Now, the calculate, I'm going to put here and calculate. I'm going to disable. See this enable here? I'm going to disable it right there. I don't really want that to calculate unless there is something here. Okay. There are other things that I need to do before I continue. So we need to add the labels for each one of these because they're going to print all the labels here. So I'm going to go to my library, and now I'm going to do 8 labels. And I'm going to put it right here, and I'm going to just make it about that size. That's a good size. It doesn't have to be that big. And I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to put another one, and that make sure that they're the same. And then about right there, a little bit higher. And I'll do a last one here. And there we go. I'm going to do another fork. I need to put a total of 8. So I want them to be in the same place. So I'm going to put that one there, and I'm just going to make this that size. Doesn't really matter because I want them all aligned. Make sure they're right there. See how easy this is? This is so awesome. There we go. And I'm going to add another label. And I'm going to make the size here. Oh, doesn't really matter. Okay. Right there. And there we go. And I think this one needs to go a little bit higher. I just want to look a little bit aesthetically correct. I'm gonna make the screen smaller. There it is. There's my window. Now I need to, they can stay on title for now. It doesn't really matter. In fact, I'm gonna highlight them all. Click, select all of my labels. And I'm going to make them not visible. So I'm turning the visible thing to off. The title can stay the same because we're not going to see them. But what I do need to do is rename them. So this one here is LBL Kelvin. This one is LBL Celsius. This one, LBL FAR, HR. Fahrenheit. And this one is Rankine. And I really hope that's how you say that, Rankine. Then we have Romer. I can do the special characters for the O and the E with the apostrophe, you know that, for the labels, but for the naming, I should not, obviously. And this one's going to be LBL REAUMUR. And this one's going to be LBL Newton for Sir Isaac Newton. And finally, our last one is LBL, which is okay. Now, prior to doing this, thinking about doing this program, obviously, one thing that I had to consider was the formulas. Obviously, there's formulas that to convert these values. So like any other program, I always suggest that you do your research prior to start doing the programming. I've done that myself and have some formulas before I started doing this program, making sure that I had the right information. Okay, so a few things that I need to do. I need to add on my project. I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to do a property, and I'm going to call it option. And that is my property option. And another thing on my option. Okay, so that's my option here. There is something else that I need to do. And I need to start, I need to insert a method. And I'm going to call it start. And on my start, I'm going to make option equal to 0. And why? Why am I doing that? Well, the reason I'm doing that is because when you start the program, Kelvin is selected automatically. I have not done any changes here, and I want the program to know that it's ready to receive a value. Now, at this point, I haven't done any code other than quit. Let's do a little, we'll do a little play here, a little run, and see what it looks like, making sure everything's okay. There's my screen. I can check in of these. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything because I haven't done any code except for quit. If I click quit, it ends. See, that's really nice. Okay, so far, so good. Now, what if we do a, well, we need to do this guy here. And what I've done, I have pre-typed some text. I'm going to show you what the text looks like. See, this is one piece of text that I've typed probably to save some time, and this is the other one. And here are the values for my formulas. I think it's the same screen. This is the other one. There we go. So this here, what are you looking at right here on the screen, is I'm clearing the labels and I'm hiding the values, and I'm doing all this. So I'm gonna highlight this and I'm gonna do edit, copy. I can close this window and I don't need to save it. I don't need to save it. And when I do reset, this is what I'm going to do. I'm gonna, so like I said, it was just to save some time. So here it is. That's what I'm gonna do when I press the reset button. I'm gonna clear all the labels and make them invisible again, and then the text value emptied it out, and it disable the calculate. That's definitely what I need to do. This guy here, enter value. If there's a change in it, and basically text change is the property that I want to do. If something changes, what I want to do is enable the calculate button. So once I do that, once there's a value, this should enable. Again, it's not doing anything. I'm going to show you because it's more fun. I can do this. See, the calculate is not enabled, but the moment I enter a value, boom, I can do calculate. It's not going to calculate anything, but there it is. The other thing it's going to do, if I click a reset, now that one has code, it's going to clear the labels. You don't see them because they're invisible, but this value should go clear. And there it is. And then the calculate goes disabled. See, so far the code is working as it's supposed to. Okay. So let's do the calculate. What happens when I calculate? Here it goes. When it's pressed, I'm gonna click OK. And that's my other text that I had already done. And I'm gonna highlight it all and copy it. And then I'm gonna quit this because I only had it there for that. And I'm going to paste it. And there it is. And here are my variables for Kelvin, Celsius, Fahrenheit, Rankine, Reaumur, Romer, Leslie, Newton, all of them. They're doubles, by the way. So let me explain what's happening here. First of all, I select the case based on option. Remember the option that started with the value 0? We'll do a little bit more on that in a little bit, but basically, because I'm using the base of Kelvin, see, no matter what it is, depending on the option that is selected, it's a different formula. But all of my formulas are designed to give me the value of Kelvin, because that is my base. I want Kelvin right off the bat. Then, after that, I go in each one of the temperature scales. I convert from Kelvin to that. Then after that, I check. See, I got the value. I converted to Kelvin. I got all my values. Values aren't okay. But remember I mentioned the absolute 0? If Kelvin is below 0, I give out an error. And I clear the screen. That's the first thing I got to do. I want to make sure that it's a valid value. It could be as high as you want, but it can never be below 0. Now, if it is 0 or above, that means it's a good value. Then I can go and make my labels visible. And each one of the labels, here they are, I put in the actual temperature. And then I put the value. And here's something unique to Xojo. I can put the value, K, C, F, all those variables here. And I do that to string. So I'm converting it to string because I'm putting it in a text box, or in a label, I'm sorry. And then I'm doing this in parentheses. You can see this right here where it says quote, period, 0 quote. That means I want the program to use one decimal, basically. That's all it's doing. And so that's the code for the calculate. Now, we still have the little thing about this on the screen. How does it know when it's Kelvin, Celsius, and Fahrenheit and all that? And with that one, I actually have to type it. So I'm going to, when selection is changed, that means when I clicked on any of the buttons, what am I going to do? And this one I'm actually going to do. I'm going to do select case and me dot select index, because I'm selecting the index of the button. And I'm going to do case 0 option 1, well, option equals 0. And that's all I'm doing, okay? Now, there is an easier way to do this. I can always say option equals me dot select index. I could do that. Actually, well, I'm going to do it like this for now, only because I want you to see the case, the select case. That's all. There's no other reason why. Option equals 2, case 3, option equals 3, case 4, option equals 4, case 5, option equals 5, case 6, option equals 6, case 7, option equals 7. And then we do an end select, right? Like I said, I could just do option equals and me dot select index. I could do that. I'm gonna do that after, but first we'll try it this way. Like I said, I wanted you to see that I can use in a select case. And so there it is. That's all there is to this. I mean, it's not a lot. I'm gonna go ahead and click run. And here is my temperature calculators in Kelvin. Now, familiar with Fahrenheit and Celsius. So let's do Celsius. Now, I don't know, I'm gonna do 35 degrees Celsius, and I calculate and see here it is. Here's my Kelvin, my Celsius, my Fahrenheit, Rankine, Romer. See, I can reset. Now, before I reset, look at this, 95 degrees. Okay, I'm gonna click reset. I'm gonna click on Fahrenheit. Now I'm gonna do 95, calculate, and there's my 35 Celsius. And again, all the other values are the same. If I do a negative 34 and it's Fahrenheit, I calculate, it should work. See, it's gonna work fine. Some of our numbers are gonna be negative, some are not. However, let's say I do a negative 2 Kelvin. Remember, I cannot go negative absolute 0, okay? Below absolute 0. If I do calculate, below error, temperature cannot be below absolute 0. And it should reset and go back to that. So our program is working. Now, let's see if we can optimize this. Sure, why not? And instead of all this, I'm going to do option equals me dot select index. And I'm gonna just code that out. Okay, and I'm gonna do a run. There we go. Let's see what happens. So now I'm gonna do Celsius 35 again, and there it is. It is working. So instead of doing the select case, I just went and said, hey, depending on the value of this, just make option value this, and it goes from there. So it could be optimized. So the reason I put in the select case is because I wanted you to see the different ways of doing this. I'm gonna put it back, but I'm gonna take it off because this is one line of code, but it's the same as doing all of this. But here I'm using a select case, okay? And here I'm just saying, hey, it equals the index. So can't go wrong with that. And on here, I'm just saying, hey, the option equals the index. Why am I using the option? Just to make the variables more easy to read. Could I go here and instead of doing option, put in the name of the radio button? Of course, yes, I could have done that. That's no big deal. I could do that, and then instead of getting the value of the letters, I can go straight to the, instead of doing all this here, I can go straight and get the values from the text box. But I'm doing it like this because it's easier to read. First, I wanted my program, that was one of my objectives, to use the base, Kelvin. So I wanted to do that. And then I wanted to convert to the others. Now, if I was only converting between Fahrenheit and Celsius and Fahrenheit, and that's it, that was the only two values that I care about, probably I didn't have to do all this. I can just ask which one you want and boom, go straight to the value. I could do that. I could just say if it's Celsius, calculate Fahrenheit, or otherwise calculate the Celsius. I don't know. It could be either way. But in my particular scenario here, I wanted to do all of these different, because it gives you a little bit of more options here. And now I can save my project, and I'm gonna save it as temperature conversion program, save. Yeah, replace it, that's fine. So there it is. Here is the temperature conversion. And where I live, it's usually very hot. It can get to the 45 degrees easily. So that's the temperatures that we usually see in the summer here in sunny California in the United States of America. All right. Well, that is it. Thank you for joining me. And I hope you like this. Click subscribe and like my video. And hopefully in about a week or so, I'm gonna upload another project using the same environment, the same programming language. I like Xojo, so I'm gonna be doing a lot of these. Thank you so much.